quick little pearl, when you're stretching somebody, your antagonists are always the muscles being stretched. Maybe that'll help more too. So if I'm moving somebody into internal rotation, what's being stretched? So what's my antagonist? Good. Another way you can quickly think of it. Okay? If anyone else comes up with fun ways to think of it, please share. So we'll move on to stretching the hip flexors and stretching the rectus femoris. You guys know the Thomas test position. So you know about this already. This is both to examine the flexibility as well as you can apply a stretch. If I see that her leg is really high into flexion, I can ask her to stretch the knee out and see if her hips drops more. That'll give me a real quick indication if there's a quad rec fem thing. You can also note, relax. Just if she's sitting out here with the leg there, but her knee is really straight, that's indicating rec fem. If I'm seeing abduction, starting to think TFL, maybe a little bit of internal rotation, the common one I see is abduction. So you can very quickly get a lot of information from here. To just stretch pure hip flexors, I'm moving her into hip extension. So she can hold this up. For a lot of my patients, they can't hold their own leg up, so I end up putting their feet against my shoulder, and I can be in this position. I can stagger my stance to get a little bit more force on this leg. The purpose of this leg is to round the low back a little bit so that I'm not putting any pressure there. So I'm either rounding it a little bit if I really want to, or I'm just making sure it stays in neutral. That's the predominant thing, is I'm making sure her back doesn't arch from the weight of her leg. So I'm stabilizing here, and then I can add with this arm a little bit of a push down to the ground to increase extension. If I'm here and I notice that she has limitations in hip flexion and her leg is going into abduction and maybe her knee is extending, if I really want to torture her, I can move her hip into adduction and hold it with my other leg, and at the same time flex her knee, and at the same time push her into extension. So I can do a whole bunch of things. I can just focus on the knee flexion and hip extension. I can just focus on pulling her into adduction. Whatever is comfortable for me and my patient is what I'll do. Okay? Try that quickly, and then we're going to move on to other options.